Good to see you. This is Global News Morning, and this is the time of week where we'd like to catch up with our very dear friend, Mr. Matt Lee. Wishing him a great morning. How are you, sir?
I'm great. How are you?
Very well. We're here this morning to talk about saving the environment and saving money. A lot of people dread this time of year with their energy costs through the roof, but there's a lot of tips that you'd like to pass on to people.
Yeah, we started with furnaces last week, and I mean, that's the mechanic side of things. And now I thought, let's go through how we can do the energy saving because you can save some money in your pocket and, you can cut the carbon down. I mean, we're looking at what we can do all the way around, and I think that they're good tips.
Amazing tips and
Yeah,
simple tips, and that's the awesome thing.
yeah.
For instance, open up the curtains during the day, shut them at night.
So if you're standing beside a window in the middle of the day and the sun's shining in, you can feel the radiant heat coming in from the sun. And I mean, it's free heat, and it keeps those windows, that room and that area warm, which then kind of rolls out through the house. But when that room gets shaded or the sun goes down, those windows are usually an R4, R6, which means that the insulation value on that is very, very low. And you could actually stick your hand up in front of it and feel the cold air coming through. So it'll go from one side of things during the day to the other. So, if you open it up during the day and you allow that sun to come in and you can bring that heat in, and then once it starts to, the sun starts to go down, close the blinds, keep that extra insulation from the blinds to keep that cold air out.
It'll help a lot. And keeping with the windows here, watch out for those drafts and those air leaks.
Yeah, I think that right now it's not too cold to do something about it. We're looking at this situation where if you walk up to a window and you can feel a draft, or it depends on if you can see daylight through a door. Like there's different things that happen. If a door isn't set properly, or if your weather stripping has come off, you can recaulk it, you can paint it, you can do weather stripping around the door. You can do these things that will stop that air leak, and it'll save you a lot.
The basement and the attic, very important to make sure that they're both insulated.
Right. So, back in the 70s, and let's say the 60s, where maybe they didn't require in the building code you to insulate your basement at all.
Hmm.
And then further down the road, they said, you know what, the frost level goes down 4 feet. So therefore, that block is actually going to have frost on the outside of that block 4 feet down, which means it's radiating frozen air, cold air, into the house, which means that that's a huge heat loss. So they wanted you to insulate down 4 feet. And then as we've come along over time, they want you to insulate right to the bottom. If you're building a new house, they either want you using ICF or they want the basement spray foamed, because they want that cold, frozen dirt to keep that from radiating in to the house, because that's one of your biggest heat losses.
And with the attic as well.
Yeah, so our R value has gone up over time, and I think it's R60 now, which is quite a lot. I mean, R40 to R60 we'll see in houses where they'll blow in extra insulation, and what that does is it's like not having a toque on it. It allows that heat to get out through the top, and if you keep that insulation at the top of the house, it will actually allow it to stay in the house, allow it to stay warmer, and again, just keep the house at a normal temp.
LED lights also very important to save money, and it helps with the environment. And it's great
Yeah,
for this time of year with decorations.
yeah, exactly. Christmas lights are doing LEDs now. You have these pot lights that are LEDs. They have 6-inch ones now that actually fit. So if you had older pot lights and they were the larger size, they actually built new ones that actually you can pull the old ones out, put the new ones in, and they should fit that same size. They cut your energy bill way down. So I think that going to the LED style is great for saving energy as well, and they look really nice.
Ceiling fans not only cool you in the summer, but they also circulate warm air in the winter. Interesting.
Heat rises, right? So you're going to have in the upper part of the room, you're going to have it as a higher temperature, and if you're putting it on low and you're pushing that air back down to the bottom, because it'll hit the roof and kind of come down and around, it'll circulate that air and it'll keep the room warmer. So it's an interesting tip, but the fans will help. So
And also monitor the use of your thermostat.
If you have a smart thermostat, you can actually program them for times of days. Like if you're working during the day and you want to turn that thermostat down to say 66, 67, and you're coming in the door at 5 o'clock at night and you turn that furnace back up to 71, which is what they classify as room temperature, at 4:30, as soon as you walk in the door, it's warm again, but you've saved that energy during the day. And then you could do the same thing at night. So say you go to bed at 11 o'clock, you turn that furnace down to 66, 67 throughout the nighttime. And if you get up at 6:30, you turn that furnace back up to 71 at 5:30. By the time you get out of bed, it's warm again and you're saving that energy. If you sleep for 8 hours, that's 33% of the day that you can turn that thermostat down. You think about that amount of time is a lot of energy saving.
You mentioned the smart thermostat. You can also couple that with a energy efficient baseboard heating.
Yeah. So the old baseboards actually had a small amount of energy run through them even when they're off. Even in the summer, they had this current that would run through them. So you're being charged a very little amount, but they were not very efficient. When people hear electric baseboard, they thought high dollar value, in regards to what it was going to cost to heat. But in actual fact, you can shut certain rooms off. So like if you're not using the spare bedroom, you can turn that down, close the door. If you're not using the pantry or whatever, you can turn these rooms down, which is a good thing. And the newer baseboards are more energy efficient, so they won't cost as much to run. So I would look at the cost with an electrician. If you have older baseboards, maybe look at the cost of what it is to replace them, because it might actually save that in the bills over the next few years.
And it is
something to look at.
And it is as easy as removing the old baseboards and installing the new energy efficient ones?
That's correct.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
So they have a wire that's run to them that the electrician will get, they'll look at it and make sure that it's the right copper wiring, and the right size. And then they would put it in, but there shouldn't be a new run to pre-wire the house. You should be able to just do it by switching the one out and putting the new one in.
This next point, my mom used to do this. After making dinner, cooking on the stove, using the oven, she'd always say that this is free hot air to keep the oven open.
Yeah, keep the oven
door.
Open. Yeah, exactly. It's cheap heat, but I mean, you can just leave it open, and I mean, people do it, and it will keep the main floor. You might as well use it. So that's just a trick of the trade, I guess, and a lot of moms do that. I remember it, and you just keep that door open and allow it to fill the room.
Well, using any combination of these money-saving tips, great for the bank account, also great for the environment.
That's right.
Matt Lee, we thank you so much. You be well and stay safe.
Thanks. You too.
Real Estate Tips, brought to you by Matt Lee of Royal LePage.